Hey guys, Jeff here with the Common Sense Camper. I had one of my viewers ask me to go through my fire kit, and I was kind of surprised because I thought I had done one, but apparently I have not done a video on my fire kit. So I thought I would do that here with you today. Fire is very important. I'm convinced, and as well as a lot of the outdoor community, that if you can effectively start a fire, you can survive pretty much anything. And of course that depends on where you are geographically, but typically if you can start a fire, the fire is going to provide you a lot of other things. First and foremost, it's going to allow you to boil water, and you cannot survive very long without water. Number two, which is almost just as important as water, is if you're in a cold environment, hypothermia, if that sets in, you are in a boatload of trouble. And so a fire will allow you to keep your core body temperature where it needs to be. The other thing about a fire is, obviously you can cook with it. There's medicinal things you can do with the charcoal, so on and so forth. But if nothing else, it's a morale booster. I mean, there's nothing better than just sitting around a campfire. I mean, let's be honest. That's why there's so many national parks and places to go camping, and that typically revolves around a fire. So the kit is just an old tin. I've had this tin for, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years. It's definitely seen better days. I actually bought some that were a little smaller, and I was going to trade this one in, and I didn't have the heart to do it. I love that it's just beat to heck, and it just keeps going. So I have not had the heart to trade this thing in yet. So let's get into the kit itself. So when you're putting together a fire kit, you want to have different methods and ways to start a fire. I believe in here I have probably 4 different ways of starting a fire, and I have other things in here that will help me affect fire and to make sure that when I prep for a fire that I'm going to be successful with it. That's the important thing. Don't let anyone tell you, well, this is the only way you should start a fire, or that's a bad way, or that's the wrong way. Use the method that works best for you. When I was in Boy Scouts and also in the Brethren Boys with my church, we swore by cotton balls and petroleum jelly, and I'm here to tell you that to this day I don't believe that there's any better way to start a fire than cotton balls and petroleum jelly, especially if you are new to this or you're younger and you don't have quite the dexterity yet as an adult to start a fire. I mean, you can literally just take your knife and a ferro rod, put the cotton ball on the ground and shower it with sparks, and that thing will light up immediately, and it'll stay lit. I've had cotton balls stay lit by themselves up to 11, 12 minutes. And so that's one really great way to start a fire. Obviously, you want to have instant means of fire, and that would just be a Bic lighter. You could carry a Zippo. I do hear from people that are in really cold climates that sometimes the Bics don't work real well in the really cold climates, and whereas a Zippo does. But I just prefer a Bic lighter. It works in my area. I live in Ohio, so a Bic lighter in any type of weather I've ever seen just fires up and works every single time. So sometimes it's you don't need to be real glamorous on how you start a fire. If you just want to start a fire, just use the Bic. I mean, forget all the other stuff. Just light it and get on with what you need to do. So Bic lighter, very inexpensive. I would not buy the other types of lighters. Just use a Bic. I will also say that I prefer the ones that are clear because you can see the amount of fluid that are in them. The next thing is I have a backup ferro rod, and as you can see, that one's been used quite a few times. And so I have a backup ferro rod in there. My main ferro rod I keep on my sheath of my knife, and that's a very large ferro rod. I also keep one that's about half that size in my pocket at all times. For me, the ferro rod works really well in lots of different situations. The next thing I have in here is just flint and steel. And that's just a striker with a piece of flint. And what I've found is using this, the best method is a piece of char cloth or the tip of a burnt piece of lamp wick. The char cloth, I think, works better with the flint and steel. The next thing I have is just a simple magnifying lens. And this one I believe is 7 times. You want at least 5 times. There are some that out there that are 3. I've never been able to get one that's less than 5 to actually start a fire. Now in your environment that may be different. If you are somewhere where the sun just blazes all day long, you might be able to get a fire started with one that's less than 5 times. This is just my experience. I've never been able to do it with one that's less than 5 times. And if you've never done a fire with a magnifying lens, I highly encourage you to try it, because it's really a low drag, no mess, no work way of starting a fire. I mean, you're literally just sitting there with this magnifying glass going up and down and getting it to the right pinpoint on your char cloth or whatever you're trying to light your tinder, and it's really simple. Next thing I have in here is just a small baggie of very fine shavings from a piece of fat wood. Jute twine. This is about 15 feet of jute twine. That's enough to, if you stretched, if you're really good and you have dry tinder, really small dry tinder, you could probably get 2 fires out of this. For me, a 15-foot piece of this, if I know I'm going to be able to get more, I would probably just use 1, and that would be my bird's nest. I like to have nice sized bird nests. I also have a piece of Ranger band in there, or just rubber bicycle tube, and I use this for other things. I'll cut a piece off of this to wrap something up so I have extra, but you can extend your fire with this as well. And then I have a whole bunch of charred cloth in there. Now, one of the things that I'll share with you is a lot of people carry a bandana, which I do, carry a piece of cotton cloth so you can make char cloth. But what I like to use is old bath towels or hand towels, because they're really thick. And if you look at this piece of char cloth, when I pull on that, it doesn't come apart. And the nice thing about that is a lot of times the bandana thickness char cloth, you pick it up and it just kind of falls apart. This does not fall apart. And I tell you what, it takes a spark very quickly. A lot better than just a cotton bandana. So friction fire, a lot of people ask me about friction fire. And I intend on doing a bow drill video here. I'm going to have to shake off the cobwebs. I have not done a bow drill in a very long time. They're very difficult. And to me, you know, going back to flint and steel, to me that's going pretty old school. I mean, that's about as old school as I like to get. If you're going to go to a bow drill, and again, there's nothing wrong with learning friction fire. I think it's an important skill to learn, and again, it's something I need to brush up on. But if you're really going to go to a bow drill, I see a lot of guys, they make the bow drill, they use a really nice $200 knife, and then they get out their paracord, they make the bow, and they start a fire with it. Well, my thought on that is, if you're going to go that old school with friction fire, then you don't get to use a knife. You have to use something like this. And you don't get to use paracord. You should use natural cordage that you'd find in the wilderness. That's just my 2 cents worth. And again, there's nothing wrong with learning that skill. I just think that it's kind of cheating when you cut it up with a really nice knife and then you use paracord. That's just my thoughts. It would not be my main way of starting a fire. I would prefer to have many different methods of starting a fire, because to me starting a fire is very, very important, whether you're in bushcrafting outdoors, just enjoying the weekend, or God forbid if you're in a survival situation. So hopefully this is helpful. This is the fire kit. This is Jeff with the Common Sense Camper, camping out.
With wine, cheers to the lonely, 'cause the friends are mine now.